Hi, Tracy Baker here for Baker Gets Cooking. Today I have Seth in the kitchen with me and he's going to help me make basic marinara sauce.
Yay.
So this is one of the basic recipes. It's a great one to learn when you're young. It's easy to make, it freezes well, it doubles well. You can make hundreds of recipes with this sauce. And I decided to do this recipe because my nephew Alex is getting ready to move out of his house, and he realizes that knowing how to cook basic food is a useful thing to know. So he asked me, he said, "Auntie, what can I make so that I don't have to make a whole meal when I get home from work?" Because who wants to do that during the week, right? So this is one recipe that you can make on the weekend. You can double it. You can freeze it in 2-cup containers. And during the week, you pull it out, you put it over pasta, you put it over chicken, you put it onto meatballs, you can put it on anything. And so Seth's going to help me make it. And I'm going to actually assist Seth, so we're going to trade places, I think, because you're going to be the head cook today.
Yay!
And I'm going to be your helper, and I'm just going to let you know what you need to do, okay?
Okay.
Okay, let's switch places.
Okay.
Okay. Your hands are clean, right?
Just wash them again.
Okay, we'll wait while Seth washes his hands. Good. Okay. So what do you think we need to start with?
These?
Yeah, you're right. We need to saute the vegetables. So we can put a little bit of oil in the bottom of our pan. So this is a Dutch oven. It's been preheating as we were talking. So we need about a 1/4 cup of olive oil. So you tip it upside down and I'll tell you when it's good, when it's enough. This is a good quality extra virgin olive oil. It's by President's Choice. I happen to like this one. You need to buy an olive oil that is in a dark container. Okay, that's good, bud. Thank you. So olive oil that's in a dark container and that has a best before date on it. So you need to look for those two things, and that'll be good quality olive oil. All right, so then you can put the onions. So I have 1 onion that's finely diced. That goes in the pot. Good. Okay, and 2 celery stalks that are finely diced. Yep, that goes in the pot. And 2 onions that are finely diced. I'm just going to take these bay leaves out of here for
Onions.
no, bay leaves. So, oh, sorry, did I say
Carrots.
onions?
Yeah,
Carrots.
carrots.
2 carrots finely diced. So that goes in the pot. Great. Okay, you can stir that up. We're just going to let that simmer over a medium-high heat until the onions and celery are translucent. Yeah, you can hold it so it doesn't move. Good. Okay, what's one thing we need to add while they're cooking right at the beginning of the recipe? Do you remember?
Wine?
Not wine yet.
Oh,
Can you guess?
whatever that is.
Garlic goes in a little bit later. Right now we need to add a little bit of salt.
Oh.
And so the salt, it's important to put the salt in at the beginning of the recipe because it really brings out the flavor of your vegetables. If you try to add salt at the end of the recipe, you can't obtain that depth of flavor, and you end up putting more salt in than you really need. So if you start at the beginning and just kind of put a little bit at each step, then you end up with a better flavored sauce and less salt in the end. Okay, that's perfect, Seth. Now we're just going to let that cook. Let's take that out of there. Okay. So we'll just let those vegetables saute. Onions, carrots, and celery are the base for a lot of dishes. It's common in Italian cuisine. In Italy, it's called sofrito, so that's the mixture of onions, carrots, and celery. And in France, it's called mirepoix. And these 3 vegetables create a huge amount of flavor, and many, many things start with this. It's often called the Holy Trinity of cooking. And our onion, celery, and carrots have been sauteing for about 5 minutes, and the onions are translucent, so that's perfect. I think the rest of the ingredients can go in there. So you don't want to brown the onions. You just want to
Clear.
cook them until they're clear, till they're translucent. If you need to lower your heat, go ahead and do that. Okay, perfect, Seth. So you can put that clove of minced garlic in there. You're going to have to use your hand.
Okay.
We're going to cook that a little bit. Now we don't put the garlic in with the rest of the ingredients because it will tend to burn, and we don't want that. So we're just going to cook it for just like 30 seconds. It was very finely minced, so it doesn't really need much more time than that. Now this is my version of a marinara sauce. So marinara is just basically a red sauce, and can you guess where it comes from?
Marinade?
Where does this sauce come from, do you think?
Italy?
Italy, yeah,
Yay.
good guess. It does come from Italy, and this is my version. There's probably as many versions as there are Italian families. Each nonna would have her own secret recipe. And this is mine. Some people say that marinara is only supposed to be tomatoes and onions, but mine has a few more vegetables in it. And I think we're ready to add the rest of the ingredients. So this is a 32-ounce can of Italian tomatoes that I've pureed with my immersion blender. So you can put all of that in there. Great. And then we have a half a cup of red wine. You don't have to put the red wine in if you don't want to, but I think it adds kind of a depth of flavor. And this cooks for a long time, like an hour or so, so all of the alcohol will be cooked off. So you can go ahead and put that in there. Great. You can stir it up, Seth. Awesome. Okay.
Looks good.
So then we'll have a couple of bay leaves. And at this point, that's when I would put any dried herbs that you want to use. I'm not going to put any dried herbs in it today. I'm just going to do a basic sauce, but you could put dried rosemary, thyme, oregano, basil, whatever you like. And I wouldn't put any fresh herbs in at this point. You need to wait for the end to put any fresh herbs like oregano or basil. You could put a fresh oregano or rosemary sprig in here if you wanted.
Should I stir it up?
You can stir it. We're going to add a little bit more salt and some pepper. If you liked it spicy, you could put some red pepper flakes in here. And, oh yes, you know one thing it needs? I'm going to go over here for a second. So one thing that tomato-based sauces need is a little bit of sweetness to cut the acidity of the tomato. You don't need to put any sugar in here, but if you do, you'll know. I notice quite a difference in the flavor, and you just need a little bit. You need like about a teaspoon, and it just kind of takes the sharp edge off of the tomatoes. You'll find that with anything that you use canned tomatoes in, it tastes better if you can balance that acidity with a bit of sweetness. Okay, so stir it up one more time, Seth. We're going to reduce the heat to a simmer. I'm going to simmer this partially covered. Can you get those bay leaves down there? Get them down in. Yeah. Great. Good. That's it. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to just partially cover that, and we're going to reduce the heat to a simmer, and we're going to let it cook for about an hour. So the sauce has been cooking for about an hour. It can cook for much longer than that, and it'll be fine. It just needs to cook for a minimum of an hour. Now it's got kind of some chunks from the vegetables. The vegetables are nice and soft and cooked. And we're going to puree it, and I'm going to use my immersion blender.
Shouldn't we take the leaves out?
Oh, good idea, Seth. Yes, don't forget to take the bay leaves out. You don't want to puree those up, do you?
I remember one time you did.
You're right, I did. One more. Where is it? You want me to find it here?
Oh, found it.
Okay. we're going to do this with the immersion blender. You can use a regular blender, just fill the blender halfway to the top with the hot soup. You got to be careful because this is very hot and it can splash and that won't be good. So I'm just going to turn the heat off. You want to do this, Seth? Now you've got to be careful, and one thing you don't want to do is lift it out. Yeah, so it needs to stay.
Well, it's going.
Right.
So make sure it's still always touching the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay. And I just press this.
Yep. Okay, I think that's good. Immersion blenders are great. I use mine a lot. They're pretty inexpensive these days. You can probably get a decent one for, you know, 20, 30 bucks. I use it a lot. I use it for a lot of my soups and other things. So, okay. Okay, next, can you hand me the towel, please? Okay, what's one really, really important thing to remember when you're cooking?
Taste.
You always, always have to taste. What do we taste for?
For if it's, I don't know really.
Well, to taste that it's balanced with salt and pepper and an overall flavor. It's hot, so be careful.
Yeah, I think I know that.
I think that's good, don't you?
That's
Yeah.
good.
So that's it. That's marinara sauce. And this is about, I would say that's probably 5 or 6 cups of sauce. You could freeze that in 2-cup containers. And tonight we're just going to have it with pasta. Seth has never met a pasta that he doesn't like. So we'll just top it with a little bit of grated Parmesan cheese and that'll be great. You could use this, layer it with noodles and bake it like a lasagna. If you're watching your weight and don't want to have any noodles, you can also put it on top of cooked spaghetti squash. It's great on spaghetti squash. You could add browned beef or sausage and have like a bolognese sauce. There's literally hundreds of recipes that you can make with this. So I hope this works for you. I hope your family likes this as much as mine does. Thank you, Alex, for being the inspiration for today's show. And thank you, Seth, for being my helper. Or I should say, thank you, Seth, for being the chef. I'm the helper. I'm the sous chef today. So we'll see you next time. It's Tracy Baker for Baker Gets Cooking. Bye.
Bye.